Okay, so, I mean, it'd be silly for me to ask if anybody has relief valves at their plant, right? Okay. All right, so this is a newer style relief valve. Matter of fact, I think I'll pass it around. All right. Yeah, I just tripped it. You can push it again if you want. So this is, let me see what I'll just go to that, because that's probably the coolest thing to talk about anyway. So let's see this. So I've got a short video here, very short video. This is the concept around what you're looking at right now. So you can have multiple relief valves and a header. So how many, just ballpark it for me if you guys don't mind. How many relief valves do you have at your facility?
80.
80, okay. Anybody else? What's the number? 86. How many? 86, yeah. So, okay, so if you have a vent line, you have vent line gas detection?
Yeah.
Okay, so how do you know which valve lifted?
You don't.
You don't, right. And how, well, okay, so now you don't know. And who's done it? How many of you guys have done it? What do you do to find out?
Go fill all of them until you find the cold one.
Yeah, if you know, yeah, you're right, you got it. And then,
unless it's shut off before you got to it, and then you never know.
right, yeah, right. And then sometimes what you'll do is you'll crack the unions open, sulfur stick them, right? Some guys do, some guys don't. It's a scary thing, right?
Sometimes that happens, sometimes it don't. I mean, if it's or if the event is over,
Yeah.
whatever caused it to.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting about that is what's the requirement, right? The requirement is once a valve is lifted, whether it's tight seating anymore or not, doesn't matter. Because one of the things that, one of the reasons for that though is because the set point can be altered. If it lifted, it actually popped and reseats. Even if it's seated properly now, that set point oftentimes is lower the next time. So the reason for replacing is twofold. One is if it continues to weep,
eventually,
you replace it. If it weeps, you can find it and replace it. If it doesn't weep, you got to figure out which one, right? Ideally, you have to figure out which one. You might find out again, unfortunately, you might find out the hard way. So this device, there's nothing, we did a lot of research on this technology. We developed the technology at Hansen. There's nothing like it in our industry, but there's nothing like it in any industry. It's a self-alarming relief valve. Self-contained, so there's no wiring you have to bring to it. There's no maintenance required because the battery, it's a small lithium battery we have in there, but it's a 10-year battery basically. It's 7.5 years, but it's really 10-year battery. And it's a discrete device, meaning that there's no catalyzation required. It's not a gas sensor. It's a unique technology we developed. So it's positive indication. Even if you have 80 valves all tied to the same header, and you have dual valves side by side in the same header even, only the one that tripped will indicate, and that's it. And that light will remain on for 2.5 weeks or more. So it gives you plenty of time to go out and figure out which one it would have been. Even if you don't have vent line sensing, chances are in 2.5 weeks, somebody will walk by on their normal rounds and see it.
We'll make them in the cartridge.
Not yet. Next year, yeah. We rolled it out on the 5600. Matter of fact, we think it's that important of an innovation. It's my example. It's terrible probably, but liken it to a safety belt in your car, right? So we think it's a safety device. We think it's tied to health safety. It's like, do you guys wear your seatbelt? Anybody? Everybody? I hope everybody. Yeah, right. If you ordered a car, if it was optional, would you still order that seatbelt? Some would. I would. Not everybody would. What we think about Popeye is like a seatbelt. We think it's that important, and if you have it, you'll use it. So we actually standardize all of our H5600 series come with Popeye automatically now. The easy cartridge style valves will develop those next year, and we'll make it standard as well. But yeah.
What's the price difference?
Okay, fair question. I'm not a good price guy to talk to because I'll probably say it wrong. The way my math works is it's you can look at I don't know. Again, I'm not the price guy, so I can't tell you a hard number. But I'll tell you it's less. It's less than the cost of It's less than the cost of somebody getting hurt trying to figure out which valve is right. Guarantee that. It's over the life of the valve, so you divide whatever that number is by 5, because it's a 5-year device, and that number gets really small really fast. I'm sure your contractor can quote you and tell you what it is.
But there'll be a day where you won't be able to buy anything but that.
What's that?
There will be a day where that's the only thing you can buy.
I think it will be, yeah, I think it will be.
It should
yeah.
be, yeah.
I think a lot of the feedback that we've gotten,
We're talking safety.
a lot of the large guys are really saying, hey.
I've chased them before, and that's a pain in the balls.
Yeah, yeah, and it was funny, what's funny, it came up, the guy goes, anybody who says it's too much, whatever the price is, like I said, I'm not the price guy. No matter, if somebody says it's too much, they've never done what he's done.
Right.
It's never that guy, it's never the guy who's done it, says, oh, yeah, it's not worth it. It's not worth whatever this is. So, yeah, so we think it's that important to be standardized, and we're not gonna make it an option. Okay, who's the PSM, are PSM guys in here in the room? Any PSM guys, PSM guy, PSM guy?
Everybody ought to be.
Well, everyone in essence is part of PSM, right? So what do you see from a PSM standpoint with this value? There's a couple things that come to
Finding out
mind.
about that and making it a standard.
Well, there's the MOC, right? Management of change when you go, okay, so Hansen tried to make it as easy as possible. So the catalog number is the same. It's still an H5600/R250, whatever. The capacities are identical. So we went to national board with this, and the certification that we have for national board is identical. It's the same certificate, as a matter of fact. So there's no capacity change. There's no piping change as far as the center lines are identical, the connections are identical. I mean, the height is about 1.5 inches taller, but you still need that space typically to remove or replace a valve anyway. The other things to consider from an MOC standpoint is, do you need to update your material list when you change out the relief valve regardless or not? I've heard that same answer. I've heard a yes and I've heard a no. So if you do, it's no different than a standard relief valve replacement. You go and update your file. The comment that I liked that I heard was around, hey, we got something really useful here. Someone should know about it, right? So when I have a vent line go off, it could be part of your SOP now that when I have gas line detection go off, go out and look for the valve that's flashing. I mean, that's a good management of change use, right? It's not just the burden. It's like, hey, what can we learn? What can we do differently? On the annual inspection, of a relief valve, you're required to look at the relief valve, look for signs of rust, crud, blockage, water in the discharge line, whatever. If you want, and I don't think I have a video here. If you want, you can test. I think I do. So you can test the valve's function just by holding a strong magnet to the top of it. So that not only tests that the battery's intact, but also tests the entire circuit so that it's ready and armed to be used. Once you have an event though, it's not resettable. You can't reset this. It's because you have to replace the relief valve at that time.
You will be changing it.
Yeah, you will be changing it, yeah.
You can't just put some tape around the.
Yeah, okay, all right, so, you gotta turn that thing off for a minute. One of the funniest things I saw over the years, I laughed at the time and I probably shouldn't have. So, it was a old manning system, right? And the old manning systems, if you remember, had the glass door and the bar graphs that showed PPM and I walked, the guy, I don't know what he's showing me, but he opened the little door and he actually painted black on the inside of the glass so you couldn't see the little bars across the bottom, Like, wow, okay. I don't know I'm not saying that's an example of a good example of a bad one, right? Yeah, I wouldn't do that. But it's funny you said that.
Dude doesn't need this thing I've ever seen, really.
All right, so
Versus all the telltales and all the stuff they have out there.
all right, so 1046, we got a half hour, well, we got an hour total, right, more or less. This will seem like a commercial, so I'm not gonna do it. But I'm proud to say, this is a technology, another technology that Hansen innovated on. We introduced this probably about 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. This is a corrosion resistant coating that we developed proprietary. It has properties that come close to stainless steel. It comes close to stainless steel as far as field performance. It's about 3x of anything that's out there right now in plating coating. And this is for valves that are installed and exposed to the elements. If you got a pipe that's covered in insulation with RG 2400, great stuff. We think it is. This is for valves that are exposed to the elements. So this eliminates the maintenance around and the corrosion around valve groupings. This is, again, this is just, so we do, one of the things Hansen really does well is we do a lot of lab testing before we introduce a product. This particular lab test is really, it's a benchmark, it's an ANSI test around corrosive material, coatings against corrosion. So it's ASTM B117, I think. So what it does is it puts any materials, you can't exactly say, hey, this material will last X number of years in the field. You can benchmark it against other materials and say, okay, well, this material lasts 5 years, this is twice as good in the salt spray chamber test, it should last maybe 10. Same conditions though, right? So the testing that we did was really around understanding how long before appearance of first red rust. And so what it is, it's a chamber where there's a temperature, a high temperature, a salt spray, which is a fog. Really, if you look at it, it looks like a cloud, but it's a cloud of salt. So it's a highly aggressive, very aggressive environment for any materials. And what you can do from there is benchmark it. So a painted valve in that salt fog, it's gonna last, nothing. I mean, it was, 24 hours and you would see red rust somewhere on the valve. You stop the test. Zinc was about 150 or so hours before you see the appearance of red rust. And we've done a lot of zinc over the year. We had seal caps and hand wheels, you'll see it, and 3 to 5 years, sometimes longer. Again, it's all application dependent, right? If it's out, if it's on the coast of Oregon, it's going to last not as long as someplace in the middle of the Midwest. It varies, right? But when you're comparing one material to the other, it's a very effective way of doing a benchmark one to the next. What we've seen with ACT, this coating that we developed, is it far outpaces anything that's available in the industry today from a coating standpoint. So from a zinc plating, it blows it away. We say it rivals stainless. We're not saying it is stainless. What we're saying is for the life of the asset, it rivals it, right? So we think that, and unlike stainless, you can get it in all sizes, right? You can get a 14-inch valve from Hansen in this coating. If it's exposed to the elements, you may want to do that. But mostly it allows and reduces maintenance. It reduces the mechanical integrity burden that you might have in a plant from a PSM standpoint. Because again, corrosion, signs of corrosion are things that you need to always keep an eye out for.
Does it come in a sprayer, is it a hot dip or what?
If I told you, the famous story, right? If I told you, it is such a unique process that we're very, it can't be field applied. It can't be field applied is what I can tell you. Cannot.